Welcome everybody. Another exciting episode of Pollinate here at Wilson's Orchard. And yeah, we're excited today, super excited. Somebody that I've heard a lot about over the years and have never got a chance to meet directly. So we've got Bill Evans here from the Open Gates Group. And I'll let Bill tell about what that is because it's super interesting. And as we look, in Johnson County, Lynn County, Eastern Iowa, and beyond to create local and regional food systems, it takes a number of farmers. It takes a lot of nonprofits. It also takes really good businesses. And I think Bill is representative of just a fantastic effort to pull together a variety of different businesses into a coherent group. And I'll say this again later, but I just warmly advise people to have a look at their website, see what they do, not just what they do, but how they do it, like their mission statement and their guiding principles. It's just really, really well done, well thought out, and I think a model for a lot of us. So, Bill, welcome to this podcast, and great to have you.
Paul, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it. It's good to be here. Just a little bit of background. I live in Kalona, Iowa, and we're or at least at the time, we were the largest Amish Mennonite community west of the Mississippi. I don't know if that's still the case, but that's where we were before. Also, we were known as having the biggest cluster of organic farms in the United States. Maybe not the size, but the number of them that were connected together. So within that community, there was a push for a way of creating value to the product that they already had. The dairy industry has been in decline to some degree for years. Fluid milk has continued to go down, and there had been a history there. There's a local cheese factory that we now owned where there was a group of 50 farmers that produced dairy products. So they wanted to continue that. They saw organic as a way to getting more value out of that product. And we took off, me and another individual, to build a facility that would provide for those, provide a market for those farmers. Literally, we started with people handing us money saying, please do this. So it was quite an interesting start to our program.
And a great way to start. You got people handing you money instead of taking it out of your pocket.
That's right. That was actually my first job. There was another individual that got it off the ground, and my job was to raise the money and put the finances in order, because that was more of my background. I wasn't a farm kid, but I got started with that on that end. Very fascinated with the farmer side of it and the relationships, and really just got more and more involved in building that business.
So the principal product in this cluster of organic farms has been milk, right? I mean,
yes.
or milk
for the most.
And
no, nope. It's pretty much it is cow milk.
Okay.
And fluid milk. We also at this point in Kalona we produce fluid milk. We make butter, and when I say fluid milk, there's chocolate milk, buttermilk. We also have a partner in Wisconsin that makes our cottage cheese, sour cream, and yogurt. Mm-hmm. So we have a full line. We probably reach into 30-some states, but the bulk of the product would be here in the Midwest, Rocky Mountain, and then down in the Texas Southwest area.
Right. And so, but you've got a cluster of companies, right? So Kalona,
Yep.
Walk us through what all that
Sure. It kind of grew from there. I started out then at the creamery down there. It was Farmer's All Natural Creamery at that point, down north of Wellman and west of Kalona. From there, product, we just kind of, I liked when you said a coherent group of companies, because it didn't start out that way. We were just trying to survive, and we had a creamery there. We were making milk, and we thought we better start selling this. So I got involved and set up my own company, kind of branched off then at first to create Kalona Organics. And what we were trying to do was find other places like Farmer's Creamery that we could aggregate the products and reach a bigger market. Mm-hmm. Bring a little bit more expertise to the sales and marketing side. So that started at that time. I then got back involved with Farmer's Creamery, and one thing led to the other. We had a situation where one of the large milk procurers dropped a series of farms in southern Iowa and Missouri, so we picked those up. we wound up then having to broker this milk because we had more milk than went into our product. So started brokering the milk. That's developed into a business now where we're actually providing services to 600 farms nationwide as far as providing services to procure farms' milk, all small family farms. The other things is we saw the cost of getting our product to the Colorado area, Texas area, and some of the other parts of the country we're in. So we bought a truck. It started that simple. We bought one truck. We now have 10 trucks, 10 drivers, and we also have a logistics company that brokers out freight. So we've jumped into various things like that. I guess also thinking we've jumped into, we bought what used to be known as Twin County Dairy. It's the cheese factory there that's in Kalona. So we have a retail business there. We're starting to make cheese. And also we've jumped into we've talked about this, the Kalona Direct business, which is trying to aggregate people like us that have local products and quality premium products, good people, and we're just starting to distribute in eastern Iowa products like Wilson's Orchard products and others that are around here. So we're just starting to build that business, and we're really trying to provide a means for people to get great products to great customers.
So you work with a ton, it sounds like, of different farmers, and mostly I take it in Iowa, but it sounds like maybe even a little beyond that, right?
Yeah, we have, in the Kalona area, we might have 50 small family farms. We have some in Missouri, Illinois, one in Oklahoma, and then 500 of them. We just started a new project about a year ago through the New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio area.
Oh my gosh.
Again, most of them would be Amish or Mennonite farms, but all small family farms, 30 to 70 cows.
And how do you see, so it's super interesting, I think, as we look at local food production. We've had different people on this podcast, and some of them are, came out of the professional world and are now trying their hand at CSAs or other enterprises and find it extremely challenging, just lots and lots of time required and not much money out. How do you see that in the Amish Mennonite world? I mean, do you see these farm units as being quite economically sustainable from your vantage point? Are these guys doing all right? Are their kids staying in the business or on the farm? What do you see?
Yeah, I really see honestly the Amish farms really being able to prosper on the organic side. The organic dairy is looking for more, and part of the rules are pasturing rules, other things like that are more conducive to the small farm. Amish have jumped into it. They're very cost effective. They're hardworking, and they can work their small farms that way. Others have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and really, I see a lot of farms on the organic side being Amish farms as things roll out. Yeah, and they're passing them on to their children. It is growing. Well, the organic dairy side has grown significantly over the last 15 years, while the conventional dairy is either been stagnant or gone down.
I mean, one of the interesting thing about livestock is you think about Iowa as, the producer of corn and soybeans and stuff like that, and of course pigs and eggs. But there's not much thought about Iowa as a pasturing agricultural economy, right? But it lends itself very well to that, it seems to me. We have rich soils. They grow good pastures. We have a long enough growing season. It's just surprising that given the economics of raising corn and soybeans that we don't see more pasturing and, intensive grazing kind of operations springing up. But it sounds like the Amish are doing a lot of that. Yeah,
I'm not an expert on that side, but Wisconsin's famous for their dairy. Got a lot of rolling hills, things like that's conducive to grazing and that. I think Iowa, because of the great soil and the climate of that, has been conducive to this just mass production. But I think people are stepping back from that. The Amish, they still they may have cows, sheep, goats, chickens. They still have a diverse farm, and rotating their crops, growing their own things. And that's really the type of foods that we're interested in.
Sure. And so you guys have now jumped into cheese and doing a full range of dairy products and stuff like that. Where do you see this all going? I mean, where does what are your sights looking forward?
Well, I think we've just dipped our toe into cheeses, so that there's a ways for us to go on that. But we're always, we're pretty innovative, even from a standpoint of things we can't make here. There's we're filling out. We just started a dip based on our sour cream. There's just various things we could start to get into. But also just expanding in-house, we're looking at other things outside of the dairy industry. So we've stepped into hummus. We're looking at other things that you'd think are kind of weird for us, but we see that fitting into the local farms, the local movement of things that are happening here. So there's people out there that have great ideas, and we'd like to partner with them to bring it to the market here locally.
Yeah. That's a fantastic idea.
The unfortunate thing about organics is that, based on the volume we have to go out pretty far. Like I said, we get into 30-some states to really make it cost effective from a volume standpoint. But there's a lot of people on the local side that Eastern Iowa can make these products work.
So the production out of Eastern Iowa is pretty adequate, but the sales base for those products,
correct,
you got to go further afield.
When you look at it, that we're a niche within a niche. Okay, so organics is maybe 5% of the dairy industry. Well, within that, we've even stepped it up a bit. We're what we call minimally processed, in that we don't homogenize our milk. We vat pasteurize it. Which is a pasteurization at a low temperature. So we're trying to get as close to, we like to think, as close to what your grandmother would have served you as possible. So there's only a certain type of person that wants that. So we might be reaching one or in the market to that 1%er, But I look at it, there's 95% of the rest of the people want good food also, may not be organic. So we're working on things that are non-organic, things that are not dairy, and but again, premium good food.
Right. So walk me through the low temperature or vat pasteurization. So why is this interesting to people, health conscious people?
Well, our feeling is, we would pasteurize at 145 degrees. Mm-hmm. Others would be pasteurizing up at 180 all the way up to 260 degrees. So at that level, we feel like there are a lot of enzymes. There's a lot of things being converted that are good things in that milk. And trying to pasteurize it and make it safe, they've actually killed other things within it that are good for you. So we're trying to make it as close to raw as possible, keep in the good things. The disadvantage to most is it takes us 30 minutes to do a batch of milk at the way we do it, where others do it within seconds.
And does that affect your ability to ship, like your shelf life or things like that, or the pasteurization is the same? Has the same effect?
Nope, it changes it a lot. Our shelf life is 19 days on most of our milks. These ultra pasteurized products could have up to 70 days.
Oh my!
Some of them don't even have to be refrigerated, which seems weird to me. If that product's alive, it should need to be kept refrigerated. So it seems like we've made everything hard for ourselves, but there is a niche out there that wants that product.
Is that mostly health food stores and co-ops and things like that, or the health food sections at bigger stores?
Yep. Most of our, here locally, New Pioneer Co-op, Natural Grocers, Hy-Vee jumped in real quickly with us. Mm-hmm. Hy-Vee's probably one of the bigger box stores that have really jumped in with us and have been great from the beginning. Mm-hmm. But other than Hy-Vee, most of our customers are natural food stores. Whole Foods, as most of us know, the large retailer in the United States, we're in 3 to 4 regions of their part of the United States.
All right. So walk us through a little bit of the challenges. So as you guys expand, and maybe more importantly to this conversation, as the local food movement expands and matures, I would say, How do you see that going, and where's the big challenges, do you think, on making this thing really, you talk about organic foods being 5% of the market, and then if you talked about local organic foods, at least in the fruit business, most of the organic stuff is not local at all because it's just dang hard to do.
Right.
Nearly impossible in fruit, difficult enough in vegetables. So as we want to build a sort of local food economy, how do you see that unfolding, and where's the biggest sort of pinch points or hurt points?
Well, I do think even though we're all about organic, that not every customer will be. Like I said, there's 95%. So I think we've got to look at products that are local, are traceable back to where it's being made, and are more natural. I think we need to start there. The challenges, I'll just start at the beginning. Financial, we've got to make a model that works. And fortunately, we've made our organic model work, so now we can experiment some with other parts of the business. But I think a lot of people jump in and it's exciting, it's cool, which it certainly is. But the business model, the volumes, the costs haven't been thought about. One of the things we want to help with is we have facilities. We're looking at doing some of the processing again for people that have great products, but don't, scalability is just so difficult. Does everybody just have a, small manufacturing facility for their product? And we're looking at there's enough crossover that maybe we could do it for several other companies. That's what we're trying to experiment with. The other thing we noticed over the years is we'd show up at a grocery store and there'd be 10 other people just like us dropping off 1 or 2 cases of product. Well, that doesn't work. So we're trying to work with people again like Wilson's and aggregate that so that we can stop. The stop pays for itself.
Yeah.
And I think what happens to a lot of people is they try to do everything and they get burned out at some point. And they either go out of business or sell off. But hopefully we can partner with some and we can be successful together.
Yeah, it's very hard, isn't it, to be good at everything?
Yeah, I mean, we just know we're not.
Yeah.
So one of the things about our business model is we really push having partnerships, not as it were a legal entity, but just a relationship with the other party to be successful together.
Yeah.
I enjoy that part of the business a lot.
It strikes me that, you mentioned scale and scalability, and I think that is so commonly overlooked, especially as, there's some mystique around really small, staying small, and it is good. It certainly grounds you with your customers and makes everything very direct and very tangible. But at the end of the day, you have to survive, right? You have to. There's a lot of part-time farmers, and that's great if it's just a hobby or a bit of additional income. But as we want to build local foods into something that represents a significant part of people's food budget, the pricing becomes important. And
Correct.
In order to be able to create pricing that people can afford, there's got to be scale, it strikes me.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
It doesn't mean we all have to become ConAgras,
Right.
God forbid. But certainly there has to be something scalable. Your point about processing is a good one, right? I mean, if we, for instance, press a lot of apple cider, and we press cider for a lot of orchards around.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
If everybody has to invest the $200,000 or whatever it is nowadays in putting a cider facility together, how do you afford that if you're open 3 months of the year and it just doesn't make a lot of financial sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a model that's very, very important for our region, is to be partners with people. If you're doing that for others, you don't feel that sense of competition. You're actually helping the other people, raising the whole industry.
And I think that's so critical to, as we look forward, I mean, there is competition. I mean, there is competition even between local producers and things like that. But at the end of the day, there's a lot more to be gained from the cooperation side of things, it seems, than there is to be worried about on the competition side.
The other challenge, I think, is they're really, and I probably look at this closer than others because this is my background, the business side of it. We've talked a little bit about the whole, scaling up and things like that, but just the whole business model, the whole dealing with people. We're in a rural area, Kalona. We have 90 employees right now doing various things, and the job market's not great, and not great in a couple ways. The amount of people and the quality of the. I don't want to say the quality of the people because that's not right, but just the skill sets that you need. So we've really had to go at it differently. It is who we are, but we use a lot of collaboration. We want people to like where they're working, so we put a lot into treat people right, trying to look at from an employee standpoint, how can we make them successful? So I think that's really, really got to be looked at, even if you've got 5 employees or 90 like us, that the workforce is demanding something more than what companies have provided in the past.
And that is an issue, isn't it? Because on the one hand, here in the Midwest, if you think about agriculture-related jobs, whether it's working at Tyson's Foods, chicken processing, or working on a farm alongside the owner of that farm or whatever, these are low-paying jobs. Mm-hmm. Generally speaking, they're low-paying, not real. It's not what your mom and dad would have you do as a career, right? But as we want to build, I think you've identified the same thing we see, which is how do you develop a stable workforce? How do you incentivize people to see this as a career, rather than just, I'll do that for a couple years. That's cool. Make cider, have a milk business, whatever. Be part of this for a couple years, and then I'm off to grad school or whatever, something that'll pay the bills and let me settle down. It's a central challenge for us. It sounds like big.
Yeah, it is for us also. And I want to feel like, it's great to have low-paying jobs, I guess, but we'd like to have it be valuable to people, to be a stepping stone towards success, and to provide those opportunities within our company. It'd be great to have a lot of 30-year employees. We've been in business since '03, so it's 17 years, and it's always fun. We celebrate 15 years, 10 years, 5 years, and we just have more and more people falling into those categories, and it's really, really nice. It's telling us we're doing something right. In that people are staying and seeing the value to working with us.
So what do you think are some of the things that you're doing right, Ned? Because I think there's a lot of interest in this, a lot of concern about this problem, keeping people and building people into, careers instead of one-offs.
Our number one guiding principle, this isn't too scientific, but treat people right. We really want it to be a place where people want to work. Their coworkers are friendly, good people to work with. We can really work as hard as we can, but really enjoy each other, a sense of family, things like that. And from the top, everywhere across the company, we look at it that way. Everybody's a key part of our success. We'll a lot of times kick around that we're an entrepreneurial company, and we do. We step into new things, look at opportunities. But it's a team. It's not me. It's an entire team of people with different personalities, different traits coming together and making this happen. So I think that there's that, how we just go about our business and how we treat each other. The other thing is, because of growth, of course, we've got a lot of opportunity. If you show some aptitude and desire, it may not take very long before you're stepping into a higher level position. So there's a lot of opportunity at this point. But I go back to just I want to work where I enjoy the people I work with, and I think that's something we've done well with.
Fantastic. So if you look down the road 5-10 years and maybe staying in the area of dairy and stuff, I mean, a couple of questions come to mind. One is like, we've seen on the organic side. In my background with fruit, when I grew up, it was like organic. Well, those are them hippies over there. They don't know what the hell they're doing, and they're grungy people doing grungy things kind of thing, let them have at it. And then it got to be, well, they're selling, but their stuff's so expensive, only the elite of the elite can buy it. And now it's become like organic is, not uncommon for even, regular middle-class people that just are interested in their health. The Hy-Vees of the world are carrying lots of organic products. So then we get into this local thing. And, again, when I grew up, if you went to a local fruit farm, you went for one reason, and that is because you could buy apples cheaper in bulk than you could, at the local grocery store. But now it's become, whether it's CSAs or U-Pick farms or just what you buy at the local grocery store, local is hot. It is desired. It is more expensive for the right reasons, I think. And I guess my question here is really your perspective on local going the way of organic, becoming more of like a staple in the American agricultural economy, or do you think it's more of a passing thing, where people will eventually go back to, buying big industrially produced food products?
Boy, that's a hard one to predict. I mean, my hope is, and I'll just talk about organic. Again, we love organic products. They're expensive. By the time you go through all this, if you think about on the dairy side, you have a farmer that's invested in a farm, cows, he milks the cows, our truck picks up the milk, it comes to our facility, we process it, do all these things, put it in a truck, send it someplace that sells it. So there's a lot of steps to get that gallon or half gallon of milk to their to the customer. And because it's a lower volume thing than the conventional, the costs are higher. And I think that's across the board with not just dairy. So there is that expense thing. So when you think about organic products being ultra pasteurized and sent around the country, that doesn't make sense to me. There should be more of a local thing just implied with organic. So hopefully those will stick together maybe a little bit more as the markets get bigger and better. I like, we buy meat locally. It's not necessarily organic. There's just something about regional, local that's, I think speaks to people, that people just sense is the right way to do it. It's your neighbor. It's, and again, it may be a little more expensive than just getting a whole bushel of cheap apples somewhere, but I do think the food's better. There isn't that transportation component that is a factor, I think. But the food's just better. You know where it's coming from. You're supporting the people around you. I just hope that that's the way things go. And it's been out there. I mean, local's been out there for quite a while, and I think it's continuing to gain steam. Maybe not as quickly as we'd all like it to be, but I do think it continues to gain steam as people look at it. People seem to be willing to pay more for food, but it is concerning. There's a lot of people that are not that are going and buying the cheaper food, the less healthy food, and I don't have an answer for that. Because again, we're back to the model. It costs more to produce. Some of these regional and local products and organic products for sure than just aggregating it in large volumes. Yeah. But I really do think the future is, I think there's better and better education, there's better and better science behind the quality of the foods and the impact on our health. I really believe it's going to continue, that people will continue more and more looking at local and organic foods.
It'll be interesting because it seems like when we got into this whole COVID crisis, maybe it would maybe all of this extra money going out for local products. I think there was a lot of concern that might start to unravel because, COVID creates economic pressure creates tightening of the belt, and then we start to, we start to not pay more for local stuff. But from everything I've heard from producers that I know from Michigan to Wisconsin, Minnesota, and here in Iowa, it seems the opposite. It seems like it's really people have sort of amped up their game. And I know for us, and I know you said too that you saw an increase in your sales, and we have definitely seen an interest uptick here at the farm. Of course, people want to be outside, but people also seem to want to support local farms right now, and I think I take that as a very promising sign.
Yeah. I don't know the statistics, but I think it's pretty obvious. People aren't going out to eat as much as they were before, and they had a budget to do that. And now they're not, so they have those monies, and I think they're looking at their foods and saying, how can we bring home better foods? And that's been positive for us. And I think you were mentioning it too for, your people are wanting to get out. There needs to be events and things that are outside that are fun to do, and you're connecting food with fun, which I think is very, very helpful. But we don't know what the new norm's going to be, but it appears like people are looking into, they've had those dollars being spent in a different way, and now they're saying, how can I get better food right at home? There again, now it's the model of getting it to them in the best way, and that's all kind of changing. Your social media, your you go back to Amazon Prime type of stuff, deliveries and that, and how do we get it to the customer? So things are changing probably rather quickly right now because of COVID, or moved along faster. Trends that were happening anyway, that now that's going to move it along faster.
So the one area we haven't really explored too much is marketing, and how do you guys look at that? How do you approach it? What's your strategy in terms of reaching consumers and growing the business direct to consumers? Or at least how are you looking at marketing? Yeah, I guess that's it.
Well, I'll start with how we started. I had a cooler in the back of my van, and we drove to stores, and they tried the product. So if you have a great product, that's a great start. People would try our product. They loved it. They loved the all the marketing, the graphics that were on it, and it made it happen. So I didn't have to be too smart at the start. We had a great product and word of mouth, and we got in the stores. So for us, being a small guy, it was our container, and because we went with a clear bottle, people could see us. They'd walk into the dairy section, we're odd, so they saw us, they tried us. And that was really because we couldn't afford the advertising in that. That was our best advertising, was our packaging. And then once they tried it, they loved it. From there, of course, then you get locked into this distributor, retail, and by the time you know it, you're so far away from the customer themselves, you're not able to convey what you'd like to convey. I mean, we'd love to give samples to everybody in the United States because we think it would really grow our business, but we can't. So I feel like with social media, there must be a way to where we can get right to the customer. Not abandon our partner distributors or retailers, but somehow get to the customers to convey what we have. And again, they can't sample it as easy, but can you do things with coupons? Can you do things that I don't even know about? We're really trying to understand that better, about how to get from us to the customer in a better way. Right. When I started, some advice I was given, they said, just put it on promo, Bill. That was their thing. Spend your money putting your product on promo, and people will buy it and go from there. And I think that was old school. That worked. Yeah. Now I think somehow we need to get to the customer and educate them and tell them about our product. So we have a lot of different social media things happening. You've probably picked up, I'm not, from a technical standpoint, I'm not the guy in the middle of all that, but that is something that could be very helpful to us, is figure out the social media side and helping people understand what we have.
Fantastic. Well, Bill, it's just been fantastic to have you here today, filling us in a little bit. People want to get a hold of you, they want to work for you, or they want to try your products. How do they get a hold of you?
Well, go on Open Gates, opengatesgroup.com, and you can apply on there if you'd like a job there. If you want to find out more about us, there's certainly a lot of information out there. Many retailers in our area have our products, so ask for us, or give us a call. Either way. So I'd go about it that way.
Fantastic. Well, again, thanks for taking the time today. It's been incredibly insightful, I think. And yeah, thanks for everybody for kind of tuning in, and come see us again for another Pollinate session here at Studio B at Wilson's Orchard. Or better yet, get your butts out here and have a look around. See you next time. Cheers.